Hi there, good morning. This is this week's exercises. All right, so number one asks us to consider the statement the weatherman said it would be sunny and warm all day today. And then the next argument that they want us to consider is the weatherman said it would rain today, so it will rain today. And I would say that's inductive because it's based on the observation of what the weatherman said. And I would say initially it sounds like a strong argument because, yeah, it makes sense to base the weather on what the weatherman says. A lot of people do that. But I would say it's not a true premise because both of those statements are not consistent, right? One says that it would be sunny and warm all day. The other one says that it would rain. Well, it can be sunny and raining at the same time. So I don't know. I would say more information is needed. Alrighty, and then key evidence ignored that would require a different conclusion. Yes, well, it seems like it. Like I don't know, on the East Coast, it can be warm and it can rain when it's sunny out. But yeah, I would say based on this, it seems not so cogent. Not to mention the weatherman cannot. No one can perfectly predict the weather. All right, let's go on to the next one. Missy Franklin and Allison Schmidt each won gold medals in the 2012 Summer Olympics. All Olympic gold medalists are amazing athletes. Missy Franklin and Allison Schmidt from the U.S. each won 5 gold medals in the 2012 Summer Olympics. It follows that Missy Franklin and Allison Schmidt are amazing athletes. I would say that is deductive based on facts, and then I would say valid. The facts are valid, right? And the conclusion is also valid. True premise, yes. And then also, so from all of that, it would be a sound argument. All right, next one. Mark is an introvert. And then the one that they want us to evaluate is Mark is an introvert, so it makes sense that he likes to be the life of every party. Okay, so that one doesn't seem so consistent. I would say this one is inductive, meaning it's based on observation, not facts. And then I would say weak because, it's how does he know that he's an introvert? And then a true premise, no, because it's not consistent, right? If he's an introvert, then why would he like to be the life of every party? Alrighty, and I would say there is definitely key evidence that would be ignored that would require a different conclusion. Therefore, this argument would not be cogent. Alrighty. Okay, so let's go on. Klingons are a humanoid race, and Wookiees are large, hairy, primate-like creatures who are not humanoid. Frog dogs are a separate species from Klingons and Wookiees. So frog dogs are like half human, half Wookiee. All right, either Wookiees are large, hairy, primate-like creatures, or Wookiees are frog dogs, which is the half human, half Wookiee race. All right, Wookiees are not frog dogs. Therefore, Wookiees are hairy primate-like creatures. I would say, okay, so it would be deductive based on facts, because I guess the way that they set it up is, these are the facts of the Star Wars world. And valid, I would say the argument does seem valid, but true premise, actually, I would say that there's also a different interpretation of it because, yeah, the Wookiees could also be frog dogs. So I would say not sound, actually. And for this one, I would say it's partially true. All right. Okay, sorry. Let's go back through and figure this one out. Okay, so either Wookiees are large primate-like creatures or Wookiees are frog dogs. Okay. Wookiees are not frog dogs. Okay, because those two are not consistent. Wookiees are not frog dogs. So the first one says that Wookiees can be frog dogs. And then the next one says that they're not frog dogs. So, I don't know. This person is contradicting themselves. Okay, so deductive, it's based on the facts of Star Wars. And then valid or invalid, I would say they're doing both. Which would make it invalid, actually. There. Whoop. Alrighty, let's go on to the next one. Okay, Margaret Thatcher was a very famous prime minister in Great Britain. Alrighty, and then so Margaret Thatcher was a prime minister, so she must be a citizen of Ireland. Okay, those are not consistent. They should change that to Britain. All right, deductive or inductive. So it's deductive because the premise that they're setting up is factual. She was the prime minister. Valid or invalid? Okay, so if we consider the premise initially is valid, but their conclusion is not valid. Alrighty, true premise. I would say the premise is true that they set up in the first place, but the conclusion, it's not consistent. So actually, yeah, so she was in fact the prime minister, but that doesn't mean that she was a citizen of Ireland. So I would say unsound. All right, let's go on. Okay, so Martha Gellhorn, Marie Calvin, Christiane Amanpour, Jane DiGiovanni, Kate Aid, Maggie O'Kane, Norma Elbagir, Carol Murphy, Charlene Eager are very accomplished war correspondents. And then the next one says, since Martha Gellhorn, Mary Calvin, Christiane Amanpour, Janine DiGiovanni, Kate Aid, Maggie O'Kane, Norma Elbagir, Carlisle Murphy, and Charlene Eager are all famous and accomplished war correspondents. And all women, it follows that women can make excellent war correspondents. Of course. Okay, so yeah, why not? Okay, so deductive or inductive. I would say it's deductive because it's based on facts. I would say valid. True premise, yes. And then sound. Alrighty. Okay, so the next one. Sir Paul McCartney said that in an interview about his famous song Yesterday, it was entirely magical. I have no idea how I wrote that. I just woke up one morning and it was in my head. I didn't believe it for about 2 weeks. It was almost the most complete thing I've ever written. For something just happened in a dream, and I had to acknowledge it was a phenomenal stroke of luck. Paul McCartney said that he was listening to a string of songs in his dream played by the classical music ensemble. Sometime later, he wrote the words to his song and had it recorded with the string arrangement he had heard in his dream. Sir Paul McCartney claims that the tune Yesterday was just there one morning in his head. Claims. I don't know. That sounds weird. But okay. In his head one morning after dreaming of it being played by a string ensemble. So it probably did come to him in a dream. Yeah, probably. I would say definitely. But I would say deductive because it's based on facts, because Paul McCartney would be the expert of how he created his own song. All right. So valid. I would say valid. And true premise. Yes, the premise is true. And I would say it is a sound argument. All right, next one. So I love the last 4 pies from Marie Callender's. They were fabulous. The last 4 pies that I bought from Marie Callender's were fabulous, so the next cherry pie will be fabulous too. Yeah, I bet it would. I would say this one is inductive because it's based on observations, because this person observed that the pies were awesome. Alrighty, and I would say it's a fairly strong argument because it is really consistent. So true premise, yes, the pies were in fact fantastic. Key evidence ignored that it would require a different conclusion. I would say no. The conclusion and the evidence are consistent, so I would say it is a cogent argument. Alrighty, thanks so much.